Before we start this episode, I wanted to drop a brief message to apologise for the delay in getting you your tasty Year of Shame treats. This year's been pretty tough for me, and I have been tenacious in not wanting to hand over the editing of the show to anyone else. That has unfortunately led to some delays of the last couple of episodes, as I'm sure you will have noticed. The boys have been fantastic, not been badgering me too much, and have been really supportive. And I'm really grateful that we have such an amazing community that allows for that level of support and understanding. Going forward, I think things are on the turn, and hopefully we'll be getting you your next episode a lot quicker than this one. But I just wanted to say sorry. Thank you all for bearing with us, and hopefully we'll be getting things a bit speedier from now on. Thanks. Hello and welcome to the Year of Shame podcast, season 12, May episode 5, or 6 if you're including 0 as the first episode, which, depending on your predilection, may or may not be the case. Thank you for tuning in. With me this evening are the delectable Rich number 1.
Hello.
Kevin.
Hello.
And Rich number 2.
Oh.
Wonderful. Thank you, gents. How's everybody doing?
Very good. Tired.
Okay.
Good.
I mean,
All good.
I feel like the listeners need to know that you saying all good when we know you've been on a 3-day bender is
Yeah,
is,
well, I do want to, do want to show off.
tell the
I'm so
people,
cool.
man. Come on. I mean, we know you're so
It's just-
cool by your new Facebook picture.
Yeah, that was
It's
taken
lovely.
on. That was taken on. Yeah, that was taken on Wednesday. Yeah, so last weekend we went to the In It Together festival, which is a local Swansea, well, actually Port Talbot, or San Portarbalo as we call it. So Port Talbot is the big steelworks. So a beautiful field, Margam Park, overlooking the hideous steelworks. They're yet to be no more.
Looking like a Sheffield nightmare.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but it was a beautiful weekend. It was just an excuse for us to get out. The festival was all right, actually. I had very low expectations of a Port Talbot festival. There was no Glastonbury. I thought it might be like 16 Sheep as a leisure centre and the Wurzels playing, and that was about it, really. But actually, ironically, on that comment, the Wurzels did play on the first night. However, yeah. So no, there was a special guest on Sunday which I stayed for, and it was Heather from M People.
Oh, that's horrifically disappointing when you're hoping for Goldie Looking Chain.
I was there. This is definitely the GLC coming in. It's got to happen. And instead it was, whatever.
Might as well have had Mick Hucknall.
Oh my God. Yeah. He was in the, no gingers allowed. But, yeah.
Let me ask, was it In It Together as in 3 words or In It Together as 2 words?
3 words. 3 words.
It wasn't In It.
I've got In It Together. That's a terrible accent. I really shouldn't butcher that.
For a man who's lived in Wales that long.
I know. Very, yeah. But it was good. We did the middle age thing. It was just an excuse for us and a few of our friends, couples, and that to camp and meet out and pretend that we're 18 and whatever. So,
good.
But yes, there is a picture of me. So one that to the cocktails. So I was totally beered out after day 3, as you do. Just like, I just can't drink any more beer, so I'll just go drink these cocktails. And 14 quid. And they were probably half pint or just over a half pint. And that you could just tell they were just those pre-made cocktails. You know, the ones you can buy for 50p in the shop. Yeah. I was paying 14 quid for them. So I said, I've had enough of this. So we went back to the van for a bit, and we didn't have any mixers, but I did find some pure vodka. And my clever idea was, why don't we just sort of get kind of Russian on this and just do some straight vodka and then go out to the dance tent and see if we can enjoy the last night. Well, that bit me on the arse. I didn't measure them, just drank them. And then by the time I got to the dance tent, literally my world collapsed around me. And I had to hold on to the center pole while it felt like the dance tent was doing. Do you remember trying to hold on to the center bit of a roundabout as a kid and you were being thrown out? Yeah. There's a picture of me, literally my knuckles white, holding on to it with just various teenagers with their tops off on whatever they're on, all laughing at me. And then, got dragged home. I haven't been that drunk in quite a while, even at MLG. When as I was walking back, I was like, "Oh, that's interesting. The floor's coming up." Bang.
So you did a packer, basically.
Yeah. But you know that feeling when the floor you don't feel you're falling over, but the floor comes to you. I was that drunk. I was like, "Oh, the world has just hit me in the face."
There's a special version of that you don't really realise until you're in middle age.
Yes. Yeah.
Like when you pass 40, things are a lot more challenging in that arena. Kev, you've got that all to come.
Excellent.
Exactly. So anyway, it was my daughter's 18th on Wednesday. So we got back Monday, and then Wednesday that was a big drinker, and then yesterday I was out at a charity golf day with a friend because I promised to be there, but my heart and soul was not in it. So I tapped out about 10:30, but I still feel like shit today. But so I am on the waters, and I am going to go into full health kick mode. But yeah, so I'm good because I've had a fun week, but I'm feeling every one of my 50 years.
You have enjoyed your half term, sir.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And Rich, number 2, we didn't get to catch up with you beforehand because of technical issues. How are things going, man?
Yes. Fine. All right, nothing quite as spectacular as a pissed-up visit to some slightly disappointing festival in Wales to report, but yeah, it's all good. It's all good with me.
Good. All right. Well, without further ado, then let's get cracking. I'm not ignoring you, Kev. I know we've got things to do, like a podcast.
Just not interested, Kev.
And also, you're the man who's leading our next segment, which is pile progress. So tell us.
Yeah, so I'm going to start with myself here because I'm super proud of me for completing 2 games this month.
Wow, congratulations.
Considering
Absolutely
I've achieved fuck all for the rest of the year.
Does that put you on 2 as a total for a half-year score?
Yes, yeah, 2 as a total at a half-year score. So I finished Doom Eternal. Pretty pleased with myself with that. That last mission was a bit of a slog, but just seemed to ramp the difficulty up right to the top at the end. No, got through it, enjoyed it, was a good game.
But you're a tough man. You can stay the course. You're not a quitter. You didn't tap out.
No, you don't give up at that point.
You didn't grab for the ropes like Mr. James.
I didn't grab for the ropes. I climbed through them like a giant.
Dive through.
But
no, excellent game. Very well crafted. Recently seen news that there might be there's another one on the way. So quite pleased about that. And the other game I finished is.
Would you be buying again now you've gone through it? Would you be foolish enough to stick it back on another one on the pile now you've managed?
Yeah, no, I would, because I really enjoyed the first one. The second one just took me a little while to get to, and I think the difficulty level was that bit higher. But I'd definitely be interested in another one. I just think that they're really well crafted, simple shooters. Just well designed game. It's not trying to be anything more than what it is. So absolutely would pick up another one. Toby looks like he has opinions on that.
Me? Opinions? No. I'm the least opinionated man you'll ever meet, sir.
Fair enough.
The
other game I have finished this month, we've played through with a friend, The Forest. I don't know if anybody's played The Forest
Oh,
or have heard of
yeah.
The Forest, or
Sounds like a euphemism.
No, it
it's a lot of
definitely.
wood.
It's
Yeah.
a plane crash survival thing.
Yeah, so there's a plane crash. You crashed on on an island, and there are cannibals. And you have to. It's crafting and survival and all those good things that are so
I have a
prominent in
vague.
games at the moment.
Is that like? Is that multiplayer? I mean, you co-op, is it, or is it?
Yeah, so
Is it like Ark Survival?
you can play it single player, but it's also a multiplayer. I think the multiplayer is sort of the more popular element of it. And I've played it through with a friend of mine. So yeah, like I said, sort of last month, I found that I'm actually doing quite a lot of multiplayer gaming. So it was quite nice to combine that with actually completing something as well. So yeah, but good game. Buggy in places. I think it was one of these crowdfunded early access type games that small indie studio, so it was never entirely polished. They've made another one since then, which I believe is a bit more polished. But that one's not on my list just yet, but maybe. But no, 2 games completed. I'm also now working on XCOM Chimera Squad, which is like a XCOM game, but a bit more character focused and sort of linear, perhaps. So
Ooh, I've never
yeah.
heard of that. Is that when did that come out? Is that post XCOM 2?
Yes, it was post XCOM 2. It was sort of everyone was hoping for XCOM 3, and then they released that. And I must admit, I sort of bounced off of it because it was not XCOM 3. It's quite different in terms of it's a lot smaller, a lot more sort of like individual, like the actual squad members have personalities and characters and name. You don't get control over that kind of stuff like you do in the other XCOM games. But it sort of has some advantages for that because they actually get to tell a story and like of the people as well. So yeah, it's interesting, but definitely different. And like I said, I bounced off it the first time, but I've got back into it and I'm enjoying it. So I think that will be a relatively easy one to push through and cross off. Not push through in a negative way, but in a to stick with and cross off. So yeah, that's where I am this month.
Sounds like you got your focus on.
Yes, yeah, I'm feeling a bit more kind of like rather than bouncing from game to game and not really achieving anything. But yeah. How about you, Rich 2? Where are you with your pile?
It's the complete opposite of you, to be honest, Kev. I have done very little. I've spent more time watching TV, to be honest, because I've finished off Fallout and I've done a rewatch of all of the boys and the first bit of Gen Z. But I have got
new season of the boys, June 13th, I believe.
Yeah, there is, which is part of why I redid that because I thought I wanted to catch up on it. And apparently they've greenlit season 5 as well. But TV aside, I'm coming to the end of 2 Point Campus now. I think I've got maybe one of the levels left to finish on there. And aside from that, not really much. Just still fannying around on Cyberpunk, to be honest, because it's great fun to do that. And I reckon, having done slight bits of the story, it's not going to end well for the main character. But I don't know. I don't know exactly because I've steered away from spoilers from it. And if it isn't going to end well, I'm going to spend as much time doing the things that I enjoy doing on there rather than kind of cut myself off by finishing the game, if that makes sense.
Is it not a game? Is it not like The Witcher? Then you can go back and play around in the world afterwards and complete the missions, or do you feel that
you might be able to? I don't know, but I don't want to take that risk because it's not one that I want to spend too. After I finished it, aside from getting the Phantom Liberty, I don't think I want to spend that much more time playing it, regardless of how good it is. It's one of those things I kind of don't want to spend too long on because I think that in itself will spoil it. And they aren't doing any more of it anyway. I think they've actually stopped any sort of proper dev support for it as of sort of this month or next. So
Okay, I hadn't heard that.
If it is going to be, if anything does go buggy or any problems arise from it, it looks like we might be stuck with them. So yeah, it doesn't run badly as it is. So I think it's still pretty good. But I just want to make the most of the time with it. To be honest, being a big sort of cyberpunk and fan with the this whole setting and the background to it. Where's Toby gone?
Just keep going. He'll be back.
Oh yeah, that's me done. I say not anything great. Pretty much the opposite of what Kev's been up to. My focus has gone for a walk.
Fair enough. I'm sure it will return when it is ready. Yeah. What about you, Rich One? What have you been up to?
So I can't remember where I got up to. So I got myself back into Mass Effect 2. I think I got 25, 30 hours done, got most of the squad together. Managed. Do you know that point in games where it just takes you a while to get over the hump?
Yeah.
To kind of then it starts flywheeling, really. You get into the characters. So I got over my issues from The Last of Us to the Mass Effect 2 and all of the storyline. I actually got really into the storyline. So I'm glad that, Toby and Stuart Whitehouse and other people have kind of pushed me along that path. That was good. The only reason I stopped is that this storage, which you obviously, if you're listening, you can't see, cracked out on me. I didn't have space to download it onto my PS5, so I was just waiting to replace that. I'm hoping, I'm pretty sure everything's saved in the cloud, right?
I was going to say, have you checked to see if it's cloud saved? I
didn't have the heart to. I just thought, I'm not going to look. Well, I need to find a way to storage. So while I was quite heartbroken there, because I was thinking, oh crap, if that's on there. At the end of the day, I'd still dive back into it and do. But 30 hours to lose for the amount of time you've got to play any games is a lot to lose.
Absolutely.
But it wouldn't put me off getting back into it. So that I took a pause on that. But I was hooking up with the guys who do the League of Gaming Gentlemen, so Stuart and Dwayne and Dave. They were doing an episode on Returnal, so hopefully when this comes out, that was it. So I guested on them. So if you don't know what those guys are doing, they're doing what's called a trophy quest this year. So it's a bit of a spin on a Year of Shame type thing, where they take a game and they compete with each other to win the amount of trophies in a game in a particular month. So they dive down. Not, it's sort of Year of Shame plus, really.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds pretty intense.
You have to get the platinum is like the golden snitch. You know what I mean? It's like if you don't get the platinum because it's worth so many points. Anyway, I'm not doing that with them, but they knew that Returnal was one of the games that had really stumped me in my previous Year of Shame, and hadn't got through. Do you guys all know Returnal?
I don't actually.
Toby, do you know it?
No.
It's okay. So let me just give you a heads up if you don't know this. I think it's a PS5 thing only, so that's maybe why.
I
think it was an early PS5 sort of exclusive, but it's a roguelike shooter made by the Housemarque, same people who make Resogun, I believe. And Resogun is very, very different game, but that is that kind of R-type style shooter. It's all massive guns that build up. You build up a gun to shoot things, and it becomes more and more powerful. But the main protagonist is a woman. There's a bit of a mystery. She crashes a space. She's an astronaut. She crashes a spacecraft on a strange alien world. And it's basically every time she dies, she goes right back to the beginning, through the crash again, starts again. It's got 6 biomes or 6 worlds to get through. And and you do literally start right back at the beginning every time you die. However, like most roguelikes, the further you get into the game or you do stuff, you start to build up, so your suit gets slightly better. So there are some things that hold permanently. So you have to do runs to build up ether. You have to then purchase more artifacts, and then you just get better and better at the game. It does help you out. By the way, when I first started, I thought, oh my God, I can't do this every single time. But what it is that once you've completed biome 1 to biome 2 to biome 3, they're actually shortcuts that open up.
Uh-huh.
So that's how it isn't like as completely heartbreaking it is. It's still heartbreaking, but I got stuck in biome 3. I must have put, well, I can tell you, I did the first 2 biomes in about 15 hours, and I put 65 hours in trying to beat the boss in biome 3.
Wow,
and
that's
it just broke me. I just couldn't do it. Couldn't get it done, and that was the first year of shame. So I put that to bed. So I thought, oh Christ, I'll try this again. And it looked like it was going that way again. Actually, it's 45 hours I put in, because then I've just put another 20 in to beat biome 3. But I did it. But the sense of achievement, I don't like roguelike games usually, but the sense of achievement of me smashing through that biome 3 was worth every hour I put into it. Although I was willing to smash controllers and whatever.
That's
I
I think that's always the way with roguelikes, like that. When you do finally make it through, it feels so good.
Yeah, well, I had tried to do it without any walkthroughs, and I think this is a bit silly, really. You can't really walk through because the whole world is perpetually regenerated, and it's different every single time. There's an element of luck, so every run you do, the rooms are the same, but they're in different orders, and there's the weapons aren't there if they are, so you do need an element of luck to build up a decent run. But there was just one mechanic I hadn't hooked onto, and that was being able to increase my, because I looked online of people doing it and they had so much health, and I was thinking, how the hell? And I just missed this one very obvious thing, which was if you just built up another, there's just a little machine before you go into it that increases your health by about 25%. So the people were doing it by having maximum health, and I just missed that mechanic completely. So I was just trying to do this boss continuously on sort of level 1 health, if you will, rather than running to get that thing. So that's kind of taught me a lesson. So for biome 4, 5, and 6, I just looked up, like, what do I need to know? What do I need to know? I'm not going to look on the walkthrough because it's random anyway, but I just need to make sure that I don't miss something so crucial that I get stuck for another 50 hours. And so I'm pretty much through. I really wish I could kind of report that I've finished it, but I am, and that's cock away from getting to that. And that to me would be a massive year of shame, because it's a double dipper. It beat me year of shame 1. It's not going to beat me year of shame 2. So that's it. So that's what I put my heart and soul into. So I'll get that done, and I'll hopefully reboot Mass Effect, get that done this month, because I don't think I'm that far off once my squad is built, and I'm another sort of 5 or 6 hours with the story on from there. So that should be a tick. And then I'm just going to change the pace. I'm not really sure. I tell you what, I was going to ask you guys, has any of you got It Takes Two? I know Kev, you won't, but
Yeah, I have.
Have you
I
completed
don't have
that?
it. I do want it.
Is that on your list? Because I thought that might
It's on
be
mine.
quite. Yeah, okay. Maybe that's a little bit of a palate cleanser. So after Mass Effect 2, so maybe we'll hook up and try and do that. And obviously
Hell.
Broforce, so those might be.
I do feel like after you finish Mass Effect 2, you'll want to sprint straight into 3, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
When you
maybe.
get to that ending, I think Kev will back me up here. The ending, the gap between the two was unpalatable because you needed to continue.
Okay.
Such was
Fine.
the jeopardy.
It depends, though. I can see that perhaps that won't be the case, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It is two big games, back to back, and I can definitely understand. But I know, like when I played it through Legendary Edition, I don't think I touched anything else while I was playing back through it. So yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'll save it for the autumn as well because the summer gets difficult. It's games like Mass Effect are nice to sit down of a long winter evening or whatever it is and crack on through and everything. But yeah, anyway, that's my update.
Excellent. And Toby, what have you been up to?
So I'm still playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. The game time has been slightly diminished this month. However, I think I'm nearly there. I think I'm nearly there. So much so that I'm already eyeing what I'm going to play next. I think my Viking times are nearly done. And when they're done, I know I'd said before about playing High on Life, but something's been calling me.
Okay.
And it will require me to get good.
Elden Ring?
I think Bloodborne is going to be next.
Okay.
Really? That's yeah. I mean, that's a Returnal thing.
I will fucking hate it. But
have you done any of it yet? Is this a game that's
I had? I bought it at launch.
Yeah.
I bought it at launch and played it, and then got so fucked off with getting a certain distance and then losing everything. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. But I think I am going to make myself at least try for a bit and see how I get on. And if I'm still that terrible a gamer, then I will call it quits, bin it off, and do something nice and easy.
I that is on my pile, right? Bloodborne. So
yeah,
I might be tempted to go along with you on that one. Maybe do some, maybe share the pain. Build a support group.
Both go in as milquetoast and see what happens.
Fair enough.
It's one of the starts that you can choose from, and it actually means you're the weakest. You have no bluffs, no extra points, and no perks at all.
No, not doing that.
I'm not doing that. You can't make me.
I think I got quite far through. It, but
I have not.
But I'd probably I'd need to start again.
I think I got just past the bonfire.
Right.
Which is like right at the beginning.
Literally the first thing, yeah.
I think I got past it, climbed up a ladder somewhere, ended up in the rafters of a building, fell off, died, and said, "Fuck this."
I think it's the trouble is, I mean, Returnal's not a happy place to spend time in. It's got a bit of it's got a dark storyline to it. But Bloodborne, it just makes me feel icky. It's just always it's not a nice place to spend time, is it?
I think it might be. I have a feeling that if you can get it, then it can be rewarding.
Yeah,
I think Rich was primarily meaning the atmosphere and the
yeah.
No, I get it. I think that
like a fevered nightmare, isn't it?
Yeah, no, and I dig that because we're all a little messed up.
Yeah,
some of us play Outlast, some of us don't.
That's true. Well, good luck to you on that.
Thanks, man.
I may well join you in the pain.
Sounds good.
So
misery loves company.
The only other thing I wanted to ask about pile progress is we're now 6 months in. Has anybody had any temptations Joker wise or received any gifts or anything along those lines?
No, I mean Rich obviously had his fumble.
Yep.
That the community voted in earnest to let slide.
I was let off on all counts there. I wasn't trumped.
You were not trumped. You were the opposite. You were anti-trumped.
Absolutely.
I'll be honest. I've steered clear of most things that might lead to temptation. I've not really been active in the Midlife Gaming Group, except for to point out people's spelling errors. because I'm that kind of bastard. Um,
Got to keep yourself amused somehow.
it's all I've got these days. Literally all I've got.
It is. Wield that power.
So, I've got grammar and I will use it. Outside of that, no. I know Star Wars Rebels is coming. Outlaws. I keep calling it fucking Rebels for no unknown, no reason at all. But Star Wars Outlaws is coming, and that is probably going to be my Joker. However, I may go completely dry this year. I don't know. While I'm interested in it, I think I'll be interested in it more in the sales. And I have a lot still to play. And in terms of scratching that Star Wars itch, we've got like the Acolyte series coming in like a week, which is going to be fucking amazing. Yeah. And that may well scratch the itch for a while.
It might do the opposite though. Really get you into
Star
Wars and
It might. But speaking of that, did you actually get into your Fallout 4 at all?
No.
Because last month we spoke about, like, when I was redoing the edit, I was like, he's all in on this. No, it wasn't It wasn't in the podcast, was it? We spoke about it in our group chat, and you were like, I'm going to play Fallout 4. I'm going to do all the Fallout 4, and Fallout 4 is my life.
Yeah. I was, let's have a look. Last played May 18th, so that's how long that lasted.
Yeah, that's literally like 2 days. Yeah. That was today. Yeah. You kind of get it now.
That's special. That's a special level.
The problem with Fallout 4, it's not. It's a bit nostalgic. It's an old game. I mean,
it's got an update now.
Has it?
Yeah, it makes
an update.
Yeah.
Oh, for console peasants maybe, but
well, there you go. All right, Master Race.
So a group of my friends have got heavily into Project Zomboid. Which I don't know if you guys have heard of at all.
No, give us a.
No.
It's a top-down indie zombie survival thing. But they have got a dedicated server. There's like a good 7 or 8 people, I think, playing on it, and I have come this close. And it's like a 3-year-old game or something that's like 15 quid, and I've come so close to buying it.
You're like a kid at Christmas looking through the toy shop they're all in there, all playing with the toys. And
they even offered to buy it for me if that would get around it, and I was like, no, that would still count as a gift. So
the problem with that is that they'll get bored with it in like 3 weeks and then drop it, and you're stuck playing a multiplayer game on your own.
Well, yeah, I do wonder how long they'll stick with it. But there's also that element of like they're playing it right now, so like if I try and wait until the new year, they're not going to be on it anymore, right? Like, but yeah, no. So far, I have resisted. They have watched me playing some Doom while they play their Zomboid and stuff like that. So there's a whole community thing going on here.
Hang on. They have watched you play a game while they're playing a game.
Yeah, I watched them play Zomboid while I play Doom. It's
have you all not therefore reached peak nerd?
That is peak nerdery.
Like you've hit a level of nerd previously unseen on this podcast.
Well, yeah, probably. And I think we'd all be quite proud of that, if I'm honest. Like,
no, I think you should probably, I don't know, get your knuckles bronzed or something. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure what that means, but sure.
I don't understand what that means.
I was going for something bronzed, and then I didn't want to be mean and be like nutsack. So I went for knuckles. And I'm not sure why. I ran with it, and I was hoping no one would notice, and everyone did.
So on that note, I'll pass back to you, Toby, and we'll move on.
Cool. I'd like to point out at this moment in time, I'm drinking a Twister Ice Lolly flavoured beer.
I did see that, and I was intrigued as to how it was.
It's all right, but
IPA even less healthy than it is. Make it into a Twister IPA.
It's session strength. So after the beer that I just had, which was a nice 7%, this one's only a 4.7, so it tastes a bit thin. But it is tasty, and it certainly has all of the notes of a Twister lolly. It's got the strawberry from the middle. It's got the pineapple and lime. It's all right. Yeah.
They don't manage to make
Enjoyed
it sit that way in the glass, though.
No, it looks like beer in the glass.
Sure.
As beers do. So
it looks and sounds horrendously sweet.
I'm sorry, old
disgusting. Yep. you need a proper piece of brown liquid with a dubious piece of scum on the top, which is
Wrexham lager, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thames water.
Yeah.
Good. So, I will steer this podcast into its next birth, and we will go to Rich number 1, who wants to talk to us about. No, in fact, Rich number 2 rather wants to talk to us about this month's releases.
Yes, this month's releases. Let's see if there's anything on this relatively small menu that tempts anybody. So, first of all, Destiny 2, The Final Shape. That's due out this year.
I believe I've said many times on this podcast, but Destiny 2 can fuck off.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Destiny 2 when it came out.
Yeah, same. And then they kept trying to make me buy
an
things.
Expansion, and then they released another expansion, and then they released another expansion, at which point I decided I was not going to manage to keep up with that shit.
You managed one more expansion than me.
The entry level, I mean, you can pick it up and play it. I started playing Destiny 2, as I said on the podcast before, because everyone was picking it up in anticipation of the Final Wish, which I think is what it's called. Final Shape, is it? Okay. Final Shape. Oh, for their Final Wish is something else in there. Anyway, it is ultra confusing. But you can just play it, right? They don't really need to follow it. But again, just a bit like your mates, Kev, is that everyone picked it up for 2 weeks, got Uber into it and everything like that, and then just fell off it. And that's the problem with Destiny. It's a little unsatisfying. It's like watching bloody EastEnders, isn't it? It's like there's never ending conclusion. Although ironically, this is the conclusion to it, but you can just waste multiple human lives in that world.
I feel like it's not going to be the ending as well. Like there'll be something fucking else.
Well, Destiny 3 probably.
Yeah, they can suck my dick.
Yeah, not a fan.
I was so in on Destiny 1. I fucking loved it. And I did all the raids with my team, Team Autumn Splendor Forever, shout out. And we did all the stuff, and it was amazing. And then we got Destiny 2, and I bought the All Singing, All Dancing Collector's Edition. I was like, this will see me right for a while. And then no expansions were included. No season pass, no fucking nothing. And so I bought the first one. I went, okay, this will be okay. And then there was another one. 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 And then I said, "Suck my balls, Bungie," Budgie even, and left. Because especially as someone who put so much time into the first one, I felt so shortchanged by a company that wanted to just milk me dry every couple of months for another 60 quid.
You'll like this then, because this is 84 quid.
For an expansion.
Yeah, that's
honestly
absolute robbery.
They can literally suck my balls.
That cannot be right.
I think it is, but it isn't just the one. So this this contains supposedly 3 DLCs worth of content.
It will be massive. It'll be massive, but it was the same game. It doesn't change. And well, I mean, it does, but they
doesn't. They just
add a few
new
bits
power.
And bobs, but it's
you can have a staff now.
Oh yeah, there's some of that going on. There's some of that going on where you can combine light and dark powers and all that sort of bollocks.
That it just becomes almost impossible to configure yourself to play any of the multiplayer content because there is so many variations of ways to do things, and unless you're on that, you just get your ass kicked. So basically, most of the multiplayer content is just pointless playing because people are just one-shotting you in the balls.
I used to be the guy on Destiny 1. I would be online every day to do my bounties, every week to do the nightmare. I'd be doing all the quests. I'd be doing everything. I'd be doing the raids and all of the things. And then absolutely nothing.
Okay, so what does £85 buy us?
£85 is worth it's supposed to have 3 DLCs, which they're going to release over in sections. So you pay up front for it, and then you get 3 blocks of content.
They've taken 40 quid's worth of content, split it into 3 blocks, and charging you 80 quid for it.
Yeah,
it sounds like it.
Yeah, and they've introduced a paid for battle pass, so they're really just milking as much micro.
Their bottom line must be
payments out of it. They're ridiculous, and I'm really not a fan of paid for battle passes. No, so that's a firm no temptation this side.
No.
What else?
What else you got, Rich?
I've got Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the game.
See, now that sounds interesting. What the hell's that?
That is
what you just said,
these sort of asymmetric survival type games. So Dead by Daylight did it with you'd have one person playing a classic horror film villain, and you'd have 4 people who were trying to work as a team and escape from it. So it's pretty much like that. This is a 3 versus 7, so you have 3 people playing the clowns, and you have 7 people who are trying to work to rid Crescent Cove, which is the place it's set, of said clowns. It is based on a film, which you won't be surprised to hear I've seen. Yeah, it does look at in terms of how close it is. It looks fantastic, but I'm not a great fan of those asymmetric multiplayer games. So yeah, I would have liked to. What do you mean
by asymmetric?
But it's not like 5v5.
Oh, right, the imbalance of the players.
The imbalance of players versus on each side. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so it's sides aren't equal numbers.
I tell you what, they should develop the game is from the question. Do you want to? Would you fight 50 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck? Now there's an asymmetric game that I would play.
Just pit them against each other.
Yeah.
I mean, the horses would surely be the answer.
Well, the horse-sized ducks.
The horse.
Well, the duck
50 tiny horses. I would pick
50 tiny horses. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Or 1 horse-sized duck. You think?
No, that would be stupid. A horse-sized duck would peck the shit out of you. Tiny horses, you can boot them away.
Well, yeah, I reckon. Well, they could swarm you. I mean,
they can't climb. They've got no digits.
No,
still just be ankle high enough. They wouldn't need to climb you.
They would be ankle high. I think stamping and kicking would see you absolutely murder that scene quite quickly.
I think it would just be quite disturbing. I think the duck size, the horse-sized duck. Yeah,
it'd be terrifying.
Don't even think it's an argument, is it? It would be
it's
terrifying.
Not. That creature would destroy you. And then lay an egg on your corpse.
They're quite terrifying things anyway, aren't they? When they get going. Anyway, that's that game. What was the game? The clowns. The clowns people.
Yeah.
Yes, it seems to be getting good reviews on Steam already. It's in early access on there, so
it sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Next, couple of Japanesey RPGs. So Kingdom Hearts is getting a big remix and re-release of pretty much all of its content, I think. So I don't know very much about that. So, there's a lot of that. It's 3 separate ones though. So if you want all of it, you're going to have to buy. There's a remix of 1.5 and 2.5. Sounds daft.
They'd already been remixed.
Well, these are the collections that the HD collections are being given another sort of next gen polish.
Okay.
We're running out of ideas, people.
I think. Run out of ideas.
This year's been a lot of run out of ideas, though, hasn't it? Now, I'm going to absolutely mash the pronunciation of this. Shin Megami Tensei Vengeance, which is the other one.
I'll take 7,
Anybody?
please.
I mean, those are just 3 random words. I couldn't even.
I thought that. I just don't.
Well, what the hell is it?
It is another RPG. It's a bit sort of manga in style, I believe.
JRPG, yeah.
Yeah, it's. I think it follows all the same sort of beats as that has. I think with this one, it kind of is Final Fantasy adjacent in its sort of story and what's going on with it, but I don't know very much more than that. I really have had never really got into these sorts of games, so
They're not
anybody
for
who
me.
knows anything, and then it's not my sort of thing.
No.
We have Elden Ring, Shadow of Erdtree. Oh,
Is this the
anybody who's
DLC?
gone
Is
on
it?
that?
Yeah.
This is the DLC for the main game, yeah.
How much do they want for that? 180 quid or something? How much?
No, I think it's. I don't know. I ain't got a price, but it's not 84 quid.
35
Which
quid.
is a bonus.
Yeah, a sensible amount. I've not got through Elden Ring, so it would be.
Am I just old, or are DLCs now the price that a full game should be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose a full
they
game
are.
is now like 70 quid, so
Yeah, but you're still paying
Last gen
half.
it would have been.
Still paying half the price of the full game to go again for what is usually a third of the content. It is imbalanced, but I guess at the end of the day they've got all the coding done for all of the mechanics and everything like that. This is just adding on extra, content and storyline. But if you enjoy the game, it's probably worth doing. But get another
Really does.
But not for me. I haven't completed Elden Ring, and I
haven't really started Elden Ring, so
I don't have Elden Ring, so no.
I don't have it either.
You have an Elden Ring, Toby.
I have an elongated ring. Stretched to fuck.
That sounds like a different.
You got the Prolapse DLC, have you?
Yeah, I've got the butt plug collector's edition.
Oh, well, fantastic! Does it come with a miniature?
No, only a maximum.
And a cloth mat to wipe yourself with.
Very handsome bottle of lube disguised as fabric softener.
Yeah.
Fabric softener.
Good off.
It's not fabric softener.
Yes. Everyone, just so everyone listening, there's a suspicious bottle behind Kev's head, which is clearly a dispenser of some kind. He's in his bedroom. He's claiming it's fabric softener. Exactly.
It's got a pump on top.
Who dispenses fabric softener next to their bed? But anyway,
it's at the foot end of the bed. Way too high for easy access. I promise you, my lube is next to the bed.
Let me ask you this.
Okay,
what's at the foot end of the bed that needs to be lubed up? Feet, you pervert.
What needs its fabric softener?
I was vaguely considering
just above
my
feet.
son that he listened to this podcast.
Just above feet. Not just above.
Well, we put the kibosh on that. So there you go. Anything else on the list, Mr. Forder?
Last thing, Monster Hunter 2 Stories, Wings of Ruin.
I loved Monster Hunter, but just couldn't get through it. It got a bit samey. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know what I expected, but hunting monsters got a bit dull.
I totally agree. Yeah, that's it. That's your lot.
Good section. Zero.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that roundup. It was both insightful and illuminating.
Sounds
Smell that sarcasm.
No, it's not sarcasm. It was stock host lines. We all have them ready to go, such as "and now this." And that's a line we like to just throw in as a host.
Back to you, Toby.
And next we've got I like to keep them flowing. Stay classy, San Diego. No, we've got them all. So next we are with Rich number 1, who has got our wonderful community post bag on lock.
Time for It's Your Letters. Here we go.
It's your letters, it's your letters, it's your letters, it's your letters.
I think it's fair to say we got quite a few questions that we actually answered in last month's episode, but due to life being terrible, last month's episode didn't actually release until today, the 1st of June.
So we can't blame the community for that.
We can't blame the community, but I have let community members know that their questions have already been answered. And we will answer the ones that haven't already been answered.
Yeah. Well, we'll also look at. So I'm looking down here. So thanks for that. So we're on to the community questions. So I'm going to go from the comments at the top. Benjamin Bowles. I think we know that man. Thank you, Ben.
Bowles.
Yes, Bowles.
Bowles.
Benjamin Bowles. Anyway.
Benjamin Boulet.
He's getting a lot of call-outs. Anyway, his question. What have been your worst and best experiences from your backlog this year so far? Being 6 months in. That's why I was asking the questions. So highlights and lowlights. And Toby.
I think I'll start with my low light, which was Doom, obviously. I think my highlights is definitely tied. Inside and Limbo on my highlights. Those were gorgeous little experiences. Really stuck with me, and I really enjoyed both of them immensely. So yeah, they would definitely be my complete wins for the year so far.
Awesome, Kev.
Low light's probably the spending 2, 3, 4 months bouncing around game to game, not really achieving anything. I don't think any of the games themselves have been bad or like not enjoyable. I just didn't manage to stick at things for a long time. Highlights. I'm gonna negate Toby's lowlights here. Doom was fantastic. It was a difficult, challenging but rewarding basic shooter game. Yeah.
We played different Dooms, to be fair.
We did, but I have the same opinion of the first one, so
yeah, but
wrong.
People can be wrong.
Yeah, you can be.
Yeah, at least I'm not a fake bald man.
You're just going for the low blows or the high blows or whatever it is. Rich, too.
With my fabric softener lube.
Which of the 2 games you've played, which one was the highlight, which one was the low light of the 2 games you've played so far 6 months?
Well, I'm going to do both of them from the same game because I really do think I'm not going to enjoy the end of Cyberpunk.
Oh, I disagree.
Nah, I've got just and the highlight is definitely
because the ending is going to be just because you think it's going to be an anti-climax type ending with no spoilers or anything like that. But
there's so many endings.
There are a number of endings. So why what's the vibe?
Is it just going to be bad because it's over? Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, kind of more like what Kev says. And I know I'm not going to be able to get Phantom Liberty for a while. I also don't think... I don't like the way the story's lining up, but if there's multiple endings, maybe I'll revise that view.
Where are you at so far, Rich?
So, I'm on the mission called Automatic Love. So I'm just into. I'm about quarter of the way through Act 2.
Yeah, I think,
and there is a realization that maybe things are going to go tits up further towards the end.
There are a number of twists in the tail before you get to the end game from where you are.
We'll see. That's where it is at the moment for me. But having said that, the actual content and the world it's in, because I like that so much, that's really been that's really been great for me, especially after having the original wank pot that was PS4 version. Being able to actually play it and it be playable, and be able to roam around that world like I was expecting to when I originally played it, has been fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. And that's the low light, and the highlight is Cyberpunk.
No, that was the high and the low light. The low and the high. In both, it's come from both games.
You're so much
Both
in
parts
love. You're
come
so much
from
in
there.
love with Cyberpunk, but the heartbreak to come.
Yeah, it's going to be like that, like the Shakespearean tale.
Yeah.
A tale of tragedy. Brilliant. All right, thanks for that. Yeah, well, I just to put my 2 pence in, I think the highlight for me is definitely getting through Biome 3 of Returnal. Breaking through that barrier, that was a very positive experience. Also connecting and getting into the Mass Effect world. So, as I said before, thank you for that, Kev, as well. I didn't mention you last time, but obviously you've pushed me onto that and given me an incentive there. Low lights, not so much this year. This year I've not felt that left out of the community. So it's people haven't been playing new games. I haven't felt FOMO that much. I'd say if there was a low light, maybe Helldivers, but that was past because that was a bit like you, Kev. It was a big long friends list of everyone playing it, everyone having fun, me looking through the window of fun, not being in the room. But as predicted, everyone just fell off it 3 weeks
like messy
later,
destiny.
4 weeks later. Yeah, so that's it really. So yeah. That is my high and low lights. So let's move on. Blair Ferguson.
I think his was one we'd already answered.
So Blair's was our answers. So Mr. Southhole. Okay.
He asked us about 20 questions, didn't he?
He has. He's been
They're all really long as well.
He's been rampant. All right. So his first one. Games have covered a multitude of activities that people do: jet washing the house, mowing the lawn, sports, origami. Is there an origami simulator, or is he?
Yes, there is.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, there are origami games.
Running a pub. It's an odd order to put them in, though. Etc. All sorts out there. So what is left to be simulated or gamified? Clean answers only, please. Although if you're going to say sex, it's probably done.
I'm not going to say sex. I'm not going to say it.
You are.
I'm not. I've got something else.
Go on then.
Got a different answer.
Toby, then you go. Let's go. Go on.
I think
I want to hear what you answer.
There needs to be a happy wife, happy life simulator where you have to circumnavigate arguments and figure out ways to keep the peace.
Yeah,
while doing a podcast.
While doing a podcast, or a multitude of other things.
What about podcast simulator? Has podcast simulator been done?
I have a feeling it's been done.
Has it? This is like a simulation of a podcast, isn't it? We sort of do it and there's no audience who ever listens to it, so it feels like a simulation sometimes.
Oh no, Podcast Simulator is a video games podcast. We should be careful about that.
Right, okay, fair enough. That isn't on the cards. Rich too, got any ideas? What would you like to like to simulate? What do you think? I don't know whether I'd
like to see it. What have we got? It needs to be something that people either aspire to doing or hate doing.
Yeah. What about simulator IKEA furniture building simulator?
What about surviving IKEA simulator?
Yeah, and you get
How about Pro Lifeguard Simulator?
Pro Lifeguard Simulator.
Yeah.
Can we have a adjudicator on Google? Could we have can you see a lifeguard simulator out there?
It could be sponsored by David Hasselhoff.
The flat pack simulator seems to exist already.
No, surely not. I think the answer to
lifeguard simulator exists. Honestly, guys, I think we're done. I don't think we can actually come up with anything that doesn't.
I think I've won it. I think I've won it with the Happy Wife, Happy Life simulator.
It just sounds too hard.
That's just no way. Oh, see, Toby's now going on to his next sweet combo. IPA creation simulator.
Already exists, bro.
Can you create some of the most disgusting and depressing sugar-filled IPAs in the world?
Already exists, my darling.
Okay.
And it's a mobile
So
game at that.
I think, seeing as Flat Pack Simulator exists, we are done. David Southall, everything has been simulated. Everything. So we're going to move on. Bob Saxon, thank you for your input. Which is the most excellent game in your backlog, and why is it Bloodborne?
I mean, Bloodborne is not in my backlog because it cannot be in my backlog.
No, because it doesn't exist in the world of the gods.
No.
It is a human game for human people.
A master race foible.
Yes. So yeah, what is your go to Rich 2 first. What's the most excellent game and why
Have
is
I got to
Bloodborne?
pick something off? Oh, is it got to be off what we've got on our pile now, or just
pile,
Yeah,
yeah.
in the backlog. What's the best game you think you've got in that one? Why have you
I don't know.
tackled
'Cause some of them I haven't played, so I don't know how good they are. Either on the backlog. I don't want to pick something from my backlog.
Go on,
That's
let's
the
just change it
question.
slightly.
That's literally the question.
Okay, if you're not going to answer the question, let me just reframe
All right
the
then.
question.
Cyberpunk
What are you looking for?
2027.
What are you looking
Cyberpunk
forward to?
2027 is the best
What's-
one off my backlog.
No, but you're into that now. So what's for the second half of the year? What's the star pick for you?
My Cthulhu game, I think.
Of course, I could have guessed that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kev.
Disco Elysium, I think, is probably.
yeah.
I fell in love with that so hard when I played it at EGX. And I went to they did a little talk thing on it, and I properly ate it up. And then it came out, and I bought it, and I played it for an hour or two, and then bounced off it. But loved it every minute of it. I can't remember why I stopped. And I went back to it recently, end of last year, I think, and got much further, and then didn't finish it. I think it's just such a massive game. But I do absolutely love every second of it. I think you've really got to stick with it, because it is so big and there is so much in it. Disco Elysium.
That's excellent. And me and Toby have already spoken about Bloodborne. It is probably the most excellent game we got in there, but I don't think it's an excellent game. Returnal for me is the most excellent game, and I thank the log experience for me being dragged back into that bloody brilliant game. But Toby, you're going to explode if you don't say something in a minute.
I was going to say, I don't think, although Bloodborne is potentially my next game, I don't think it's the most magnificent or awesome by any stretch. I think if I were to be objective, I'd say that arguably what High on Life did in terms of switching up a genre is certainly quite magnificent. And that's why it's one that I'll definitely go back to before the end of the year. I think also, in fact, I'm just going to stick with that. I think that game sort of smashed a lot of boundaries within a genre and changed how we view certain things within gaming. And people who played it have absolutely loved it. And I think that it's something that doesn't get enough credit or credence.
Yeah, good point. So David Southall asked another question, which is a nice segue, which is, do you think gamers are hitting backlog-ageddon? With so many games to play and get added each year, let alone the abundance of freebies and subscriptions, do you think it's diminishing incentive to actually go and buy games now? I mean, I'll jump in on that one first. Yeah, there's been no games. There only one game that we've all agreed that we might go for this year. Apart from that, it's just been absolute trash. And there's nothing really on the cards that I'm looking for. Maybe one game a year I get intrigued by that I would buy. And this year has been relatively easy to do log and all the freebies.
It's more down.
Go on.
I think it's more down to the fact we seem to be getting a lot of remixes and just remasters of old things. People have already
think-
played and done a lot of the things that have already been here. It's pretty barren landscape in terms of new IPs coming along, for people to get to hitch their wagon to and get stuck into.
But
think
I think
also-
that's
Sorry, go on, Kev.
But I think that's also driven by what sells to a certain extent. You've got to look at like Bethesda finally, released a new IP and it got fucking slated, right? Like
loved
don't get
it.
me wrong, I think that it deserves it.
I loved it.
Well, yeah, that's because it was a shit game, not because it was a bad IP.
Loved
But
it.
but it is risky, right? And it's expensive. Like, don't get me wrong, they're rolling in fucking cash and they should all get over it. But I can understand it from a business point of view that it isn't easy to launch new IPs, right? It is expensive and it is risky, and they want to see a return on it.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
proportionate to the gen, though, isn't it?
I mean, if you're going to be creating a new IP for a AAA rated game, the development costs now are in the hundreds of millions now. And to be fair, if you
So
hit
is the
mark,
payoff.
it's the same, but it's the same
Exactly.
with movies, isn't it? It's like they think
The
they've got to
hype
spend all
train-
this money, but it's
Hype train almost guarantees you a certain amount back on that 100 mil straight away.
Yeah, but I don't think it's the problem is the threshold of profit that they're looking for, right? Like, and the same with movies, right? Like things are considered a flop if they only make twice their budget back. If they don't like make 10 times, then it's like, why do we bother? And that's, I think, the problem, because it's driven by the shareholders and stuff rather than the creative influences.
but for
still
everyone that
they
does
still
everyone
continue
that does
to
that,
make
there's
them,
a
so.
flop though, isn't it? That's why they have to make the money, because they put so many flops out that lose.
But I
the
feel like they're
money.
putting out less and less flops. They're less willing to take the risk on stuff that will lose money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I think it is
still a lot
stinting the
filmed
creative
compared to
process.
I think that that's different. Film industry is different in terms of that. You just don't get. They're not even releasing good or bad video games to compensate for each other. You're just not getting them.
I think
Yeah,
there's
it's
still a
good-
lot in the
I
indie
think
sphere.
it's too. I don't think it's comparable. That.
But the problem in the indie sphere, they're so hidden, aren't they? They don't get the budget to promote. We just never come across them.
They're all
Apart
word
from you
of mouth.
randomly come across them,
Yeah.
and word of mouth. But it's just inundated with stuff and mediocre stuff, and the backlog just gets, I guess, worse and worse. The best thing about this is that we're re-experiencing games we haven't played, and they're just as good. There's nothing wrong with the games from 4 or 5 years ago.
Absolutely
And
nothing. And I think that's the beauty of this challenge, isn't it? Is like me with Inside and Limbo, games that are very much indie and have their own hardcore following, and are from a certain period ago, but that I have fallen in love with through making sure that I stay away from the hype of what's happening this year.
Yeah. Well, I'm linking this through to Dave's next question, which is about the remakes. So that again segues quite nicely through. So he's asking, where do we stand on these remakes and remasters? Curse or blessing? He's sick of seeing the same old things coming out. But he did go back to Paper Mario 1000 Year Door. What the hell is that? On the Switch.
New one.
Yeah.
Well, it's a remake of.
Yes, it's a port, isn't it, for
Yeah.
Switch basically, with some new
Yeah.
functionality.
Toby.
Yeah, thank you. I think we've spoke about this just generically in other episodes so far this year, where we all spoke about the whole remake remaster cycle, and I think I was quite vociferous in how bullshit I found it. I will never understand why our brethren in the gaming community will clamour for something that will be the same game but with more frames per second, or will just be slightly more polished, or the graphics will not have as rough an edge. The mechanics are exactly the same. I cannot fathom for the life of me, and the only thing I can think of is that there are some really well-off motherfuckers within the gaming community who just like to spend their money. Like, I've got so much of it, I don't know what I want to do with it, so I'm going to buy the same game again with a shinier package. And then I'm going to love it. And there's enough people with that much money. The gaming companies go, well, this is what people want. Let's cram it down their necks. We as a community have to start voting with our feet. We have to. Because all the time people go, well, I've got nothing else to buy this month, and I've got my gaming budget making a hole in my wallet, so there's this remaster coming out. Let's just get that, and let's not miss out on the hype and be on the new shiny.
I think if you're rebuying, I think if you're rebuying a game you've already played just to get polish on it, there is an argument for remakes to bring them up.
Most people are.
Good games. Yeah, that's the thing. That's a stupid thing. I can understand if you've got a PS3 game that then comes to PS5. I've not played it on the PS3, and now they polished it and it's just updated and it runs on my machine better. It's worth buying, going back to it. So I do think there's a different world. I mean, have you ever bought a remastered album, like Led Zeppelin remastered and all those sorts of things?
I mean, I've certainly listened to the new version of Do You Know What I Mean, called Noel Gallagher's Rethink, from the remastered Oasis album. I wouldn't have ever bought it. It was on Spotify. The same as I've had a look at the Final Fantasy VII remake, because it's on PS Plus. Wouldn't have ever bought it in a million years. And I think it's very much the same as, and I'm not going to get political, don't worry, but on the 4th of July, the country has the opportunity to vote with its feet. And as a gaming community, we have to do the same. We have to say we've got to the point of oversaturation of the same game. Because we are at that point, and the more people just go, oh, I'll buy it because I've got nothing else to buy and I love having the new thing, the more the gaming companies are going to go, well, okay, we don't need to develop anything new. We'll just keep doing this. It's absolutely batshit that no one realises that. It's like we've become lemmings. It's like the game Lemmings. We're all just careening towards a cliff. At the bottom of that cliff is just a pile of The Last of Us over and over again. Because that's all we're going to get. We're going to get The Last of Us as weasels, or with tails, because that's all they've got left to make us. And we'll still go, just give us more, because we've become a community of serfs.
Don't hit that buy button, Kev.
It's ridiculous.
Your opinions, is that Rich too?
Toby, did you buy Mass Effect Legendary Edition?
No, I did not.
You didn't? Okay.
See, I did.
It was on PS Plus
because I'd never.
I genuinely thought I was going to catch you out there, but no, you didn't. So you're sticking to. Do you think there's a threshold for it at all?
No, I genuinely don't.
No,
I have all of the original games, so and I bought all the DLC for them. There is literally nothing there for me, and that's why, when it came on PS Plus. Certainly, and I told everyone to get it. I told my mates who had never played it, dude, now's the time. Get a month PS Plus and just play this and see if you like it, and if so, continue your membership. It is mind-boggling to me. We continue to buy games that we already own. It is literally all of the game execs are literally sitting there knocking one off into a big bin. And then they're just pouring that into a game-shaped mold and selling it to us, because that's what's happening.
A remake Bukkake Party.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
they're just jizzing all over our faces, and we're taking it.
Yeah, I don't think that sentence ever been said before.
Now it has.
Rich too. Your opinion on remakes? Is there a justification for buying them? What Toby said. Fair enough.
No, there isn't. I 100% everything Tory said. Just why buy the same thing twice just because it looks a bit better, or the sound's got a remix on it, or something like that? It's It's just wrong.
Yeah. Well, in that case, let me move on to Dave's because it connects nicely again. It's a nice series of questions going on here. So, is there a lost genre of game you'd like to see make a comeback?
Yeah, so I think for me it's strategy games, but I think they are in the process, and turn-based definitely has come back. Real time seems to be making some level of comeback, but people are still by and large playing the classics. I think the new versions that are coming out are not quite managing to capture the enthusiasm that people had for the old ones. I'm not sure what it is, whether it's just a changing game design, whether it's just there isn't the experience there in the development field. But like Age of Empires 4, for instance, came out, and there's still more people playing Age of Empires 2 than there are people playing Age of Empires 4. You know, so I'm not quite sure what it is that they're missing there. But I'd really like more kind of real-time strategy games.
Real time as opposed to turn based.
Yeah, so like I said, I think the turn-based has sort of come back. So when the XCOM Enemy Unknown came out, I think that was sort of the beginning for them. That did very well, and there's been quite a lot since then. And Baldur's Gate, clearly, while a role-playing game, the combat is turn-based strategy, has had a huge impact. So I think we'll see more turn-based stuff coming. Because the turn-based stuff that has come out has been successful, whereas the new real-time strategy stuff has not been successful in the same way. I think is struggling to make the genre kind of relevant again. Saying that, I think the Total War games always do well. Although I can't think that there's been one recently off the top of my head. But yeah, I think definitely there could be a significant better amount of and a higher quality real-time strategy games out there.
Yeah. Rich too?
I'm not sure we've had a sort of that there's a lost kind of genre of games. I think pretty much everything's covered these days. And kind of going back to what we had before, if it's not got a game genre of its own, you pretty much had a simulator for doing it, probably. To cover it, you know, what should we do? I'd like a game about being a highway patrolman. Oh, look, police patrol simulator comes out, you know, that kind of thing. Before we know it, there'll be a Mortal Kombat simulator.
Yep.
I don't think there is a lost genre, to be honest. I disagree that there is.
Outside a nightclub on a Saturday night.
Yeah, there you go. Real world experience.
Finish it. Anything you think that's not made a comeback or it exists that people haven't paid attention to?
So there's a game I often harken back to that I don't think has any real current, or didn't think it had any current time equal until Netflix brought out a game which is very much it. And that was Solar Jetman on the NES, which was one of my all-time favourite things. And I would plough hours and hours and hours and hours and hours into that. And now on the games on Netflix, there's a game that's very, very similar. Up until that had came out, I would have said that game, whatever its genre might have been, was something I would like to see come back. But outside of that, I think we are in 2024 pretty much good.
Yeah, I think obviously most genres exist. I mean, there's so many games out there. They exist either they exist because you can go back and play them. But in terms of the level of popularity and investment, something with rhythm games. I don't know whether or not I'd like to see
Rhythm magazines.
Go back to Guitar Hero, rhythm magazines. Papa the Rapper, mate. That's that type of thing. It'd be good to see a combination. Because I really enjoyed. Oh my god, I've completely forgotten the game that you recommended at the beginning of the year. The first one I played. Yeah, so I really enjoyed that, and I thought that was a great. Well, I was just disappointed it didn't have more rhythm action in it, but I would have played through. He's going to laugh every time I say rhythm action because I just couldn't get the rhythm, and then it finished too quick. That was it.
You've not done yourself any favours there.
I've got a
playing
mobile
something
game
out.
called Beat Stars that is essentially
Beat off
Guitar Hero.
stars. Yeah.
That is essentially Guitar Hero with your thumbs. It's very enjoyable.
So I like so the Artful Escape was good because it was the rhythm playing that got you move the story on, and I think there could be something more interested in that. A Guitar Hero with a quest, like something like that.
Sort of what Hi-Fi Rush was, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. But also, I do miss. I know Streets of Rage 4 came. Streets of Rage 4. Is that right? Streets of Rage. It didn't sound right when I said it. Yeah, I really enjoyed playing that over the year of shame. It was one on my pile. So that kind of 2D beat 'em up, and it's kind of reimagining of things like that. Just classic back to arcade games. I think that's how Returnal feels to me. It feels like an arcade game that you're putting money in and starting again, and so that is something. But yeah, that's
Just
probably
lucky you
all
don't
I
have to
can
put
think
money
of.
in it every time, eh?
No, that would have cost me an absolute fortune, but not quite as much as buying Destiny DLC.
Not
Hey.
£84.
Full circle.
Yeah, point and click as well. Monkey Island stuff.
Monkey Island, yeah.
Broken sword, baby.
Yeah.
Fucking
So,
goat.
talking of sort of new ideas and reimaginings, the question that I have just lost, bear with me, caller, because it went off.
Not. Can I speak to your manager?
The final question is from Richard Birch. Thank you, Richard, for your contribution. How on earth are you all surviving without, let me pronounce this right, Balatro?
So I googled this.
Balatro. There's
Googled
Balatro.
it, and it essentially
I think Rich mentioned it in the last
In February,
games.
I think.
Yeah, March or April's
Yeah.
games to come.
Yeah.
I googled
So
it, and
Balatro.
essentially it's bullshit. Like I'm doing without it
I
because it
disagree.
looks fucking bollocks.
I
even remember what it was.
disagree. So you described it as a roguelike poker game, right?
That poker game, yeah, I thought it might have been.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you build it. It's a deck builder basically. It's not poker at all. So I did think, do you know what? I'll have a look so I can answer this question. Right. So I watched a 2.5 minute review on it, and do you know what? I don't know how I am surviving without it. If I don't think I'm going to use my Joker, that may well be the one.
And I think, sir, you are starved of new games so much that you have been duped into believing this is something exciting and not the
I love
bullshit
deck
that it
builders.
is.
I love my Magic.
Big builders, more like
Hearthstone deck build, and it's not because I just didn't understand the poker element and being roguelike, but it's not really. It's just using cards. It's got nothing to do with poker.
Wang.
And you
Sorry,
build.
Rich, do you play Magic the Gathering? Was that what you just said?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Well, I don't play it anymore, but
I like
Big
deck
double.
builders as proper board games.
Yeah.
Deck builders as proper board
Richard,
games.
you should have a look at this Balatro. I mean, have a look at the review. I think you'd love it as well. I know you love your cards and your deck building, mate.
Okay, for you, I'll give it a look.
Have a look at the review because you basically it works on jokers and the power cards and score building and everything like that. But yeah, I think if I'm not going to spend on anything else, that might be a game that may well.
Just in case anyone cares, the Champions League finals just got interesting.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Rich one does care. He's pretending he doesn't.
Yeah, I want to know because I've got it recorded. I'm just going to start watching it for. So don't tell me anything, please. Don't.
I'm just waiting. I'm not going to. That would be a dick move. I'm waiting for the boxing tonight.
What's the boxing?
Deontay Wilder versus Zhilei Zhang.
Oh, is it now?
Yeah, that's going to be a beast of a fight, or it's
Is that
going to
on
be
play?
over really quick.
So, Richard, you've actually, Richard Birch, you've actually piqued my interest there of a game I may well look into in the next couple of months' time. I'll have a look again. But apart from that, I think that concludes any questions that I missed. We'll cover off next month, but I don't think I have. So thank you, community, once again for your great contributions, even though we were a little bit late. So hope we answered those and answered your questions, and handing you back to your delectable host, Mr. Toby James, to take us home.
That's right, I am fucking delectable. Okay, good. So, as Rich said, thank you so much to the members of the community that keep the questions coming in every month and give us something to debate and slag off. All that's left for us to say for our May episode is goodbye. So we'll say goodbye, Rich number 2.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Rich number 1.
Bye.
Goodbye, Kev.
Goodbye.
And I have been your host, Toby James. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you again next time. Bye!